Hello, welcome to Beatrice Weekly Health podcast or videos. Today I'm going to talk about insomnia and fatigue. So this subject, as I always told my patient, is that if you want, hey doggy, making noise. If you want to be healthy, there's 4 pillars of health, which are food, water, exercise, and sleep. After reading a book that was offered to me, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, I agree with this author that in fact sleep should be priority number 1. Absolutely. It's crucial, essential if you want to stay healthy or improve your state of health to sleep, and to sleep of a good quality sleep. So in our sleeping process, there's 2 mechanisms that are important to understand. One is the circadian rhythm. We have the circadian rhythm. We are active during the day and we sleep at night. That's our nature as human beings. Some animals can be active at night, but that's not our case. So our circadian rhythm is regulated by our exposure to light. When we are outside exposed to the natural light, even artificial light, I'll talk about that a little bit later, it activates a gland in here, which is called the pineal gland. And this pineal gland is going to secrete melatonin at night. When the sun sets and there is no more artificial light, saying that maybe we were living in remote times, then the pineal gland is going to send a message to a little part of our body, of our brain, that is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And this suprachiasmatic nucleus sends a message to the pineal gland and says, okay, it's time now to secrete melatonin. So the body secretes melatonin, which will help us to fall asleep. So one problem that occurs already is that in our modern time, we have artificial light. So that pushes back the melatonin secretion. Normally, the melatonin should be secreted after sunset. So whatever the sunset is, an hour or 2 after that, then you're going to have a peak of melatonin. But with artificial light, this peak of melatonin is going to be delayed, and the more you stay awake by artificial light, being also television, iPhone, iPad, and of course light bulbs, the more the melatonin will be delayed. And it will occur probably later during the night, like midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 a.m., etc. So that's a problem by itself. The second mechanism that is important to understand that I learned in this book is adenosine secretion. Adenosine is a hormone that is secreted by the brain also, and is telling the body that we need to go night-night. Now, the adenosine secretion is independent from the circadian rhythm. So no matter if you are exposed to light or to dark, or no matter where you are in the continent or on Earth, if you are on European time or if you are in the US time, adenosine will be secreted no matter what. It's a security system, security valve. So no matter what you are, where you are, and how much exposure to light you have or you don't have, you're going to have a secretion of adenosine if you don't sleep. So let's say that you stay more than 12 hours or even 8 hours awake, then adenosine starts rising. And it goes up and 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 up until you fall asleep. So when you travel the Atlantic, like I'm going to do next month to come to see my American patient in California, and I don't sleep I counted several times, so I don't sleep for 27 hours. And you know the feeling when you have not slept, that you have this brain fog, this fatigue, this. But for me, it's mostly mental. It's mostly my brain that is affected when I don't sleep. It takes me about 24 hours after a good night's sleep to recuperate and to have my brain functioning correctly, sometimes 48 hours. I have a little blurred speech, I have little, I can't find my words, and that means that my brain has slowed down. And that's because of the lack of sleep. So after 27 hours of not sleeping, my adenosine level is very high. If I was going to stay awake even longer, the adenosine level will be even longer. And that's why you fall asleep after a certain amount of hours not being able to, no matter what. It's really a security valve, a security system. We have to sleep. If we don't sleep, we get crazy. It was a torture that was done during the wars, um, when they had prisoners and they wanted them to talk. They would deprive them from sleep and they would become crazy. You would do anything to fall asleep. It's real torture. It's horrible. So there's those two systems. Then there is cycles. During our night, we have several cycles. These cycles are about 90 minutes each. And in these 90 minutes each, you have several phases of what we call REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and non-REM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep. We have 4 different phases of non-REM, and we have 1 phase of REM during the 90 minutes period. These REM and non-REM are essential for our well-being, for the brain to recuperate and to clean up, to detox. People that don't sleep and are prescribed or take sleeping pills don't obtain these REM, non-REM phases. So although they sleep, they don't have the cleansing effect, the recuperating, the rejuvenating effect that we normally have when you sleep naturally. That's a big distinction. That's also something that this gentleman, Matthew Walker, talks about in his book. There are many things that are going to impair your sleep and your quality of sleep. What are they? Well, the first thing is our modern technology. Lights, iPhones, iPads, computers, televisions, artificial lights. LED lights are worse for the brain. They excite the brain more. And blue lights that are also emitted by iPhones and iPads and computers are worse than, let's say, just a regular light bulb, because it excites the brain. It keeps the brain awakened and it disturbs this circadian rhythm. So that's one thing. Noise, of course. You have puppies. I have one puppy here, sleeping and snoring loudly. Husband sleeping, cats, dogs, whatever. Surrounding noise. The lack of dark. It's very important for this pineal gland to function very well, to have clearly exposure to light, and that's why it's important to go outside during the day, and clearly exposure to dark, and that's important to sleep in the dark with shutters or curtains that really isolate you from the light. Artificial or natural light, you know very well, I know very well, women are very sensitive to that, I am awake at full moon, no matter what, I'm awake at full moon, except if I really close the shutters. Here in France we have shutters, so it closes completely. What else disturbs your sleep? Adrenal dysfunction. I talk a lot about the adrenal function in my podcast and my videos, and the more your adrenals are disturbed, the more your sleep will be disturbed, because melatonin is secreted at night, and it peaks after 2 or 3 hours after sunset. Opposite effect is cortisol. Cortisol is secreted by the adrenals and it's secreted during the day. So it's higher in the morning so we can wake up, and then it lowers during the day and it's very low at night. If your adrenals are disturbed by stress, and I talked about that in many podcasts, you can refer to them, then your cortisol is going to be high all the time. And this high cortisol all the time impairs the melatonin secretion. So we need to take care of our adrenals. The many remedies and ways that I have told you before to take care of your adrenals in order to sleep well. You also need to regulate your hormones, because menopause, for example, is a time where adrenals are disturbed, you're secreting too much cortisol, you're going to have hot flashes and night sweats. I have women that have told me horrible stories about their night sweats, that they have to change 3 times during the night their pajamas or nightgown, plus the sheets, plus the towels that they have to put around them. I mean, it's just horrible. So that disturbs the sleep a lot, hormonal imbalances. Thyroid also, if you have a thyroid issues, the thyroid gland regulates all the rhythm of the body, so it regulates the circadian rhythm as well. That's another cause. Alcohol. Alcohol is a good one. I'm laughing, not laughing. It's just that I hear that often. People tell me, well, a little bit of wine at night, it can't harm, and it helps me fall asleep. Yes, it's true, it helps you fall asleep because it's high sugar, so it raises your blood sugar and makes you drowsy. But then 2 or 3 hours later, you react by hypoglycemia and you wake up. When you're in hypoglycemia in the middle of the night, your body will wake you up no matter what. Because hypoglycemia, if it keeps going down, low blood sugar, is dangerous for the body. So there is an alarm system saying, hey, your blood sugar is going too low here. We need to wake up. And usually people that wake up because of hypoglycemia, they have hunger. They feel hungry at night, they go eat something, and then they fall back asleep. So alcohol is not your friend for sleep. Poor digestion is not your friend for sleep either. If you don't digest well, you're going to disturb all your digestive organ, stomach, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and that will also affect the quality of your sleep. You won't have as much REM sleep. REM sleep is when we dream, so you won't have as much of those when you are eating too much. And you're also creating hyperglycemia. Same thing as with alcohol. What else disturbs your sleep? Well, stress, of course. Lack of oxygen. You need oxygen for the brain to be well oxygenated and functioning properly. Hormonal imbalances, I said. I'm forgetting some of them. I'm going to give a lecture to my GAPS group on Saturday about this subject. But if you want to know more, you can certainly ask me. Call me, email me, put a comment on my Facebook page or my YouTube, and let me know your thoughts. I know that sleeping issues are very, very big for a lot of people, a lot of Americans, and that needs to be resolved. It's really a high priority, and like I said, I put it in #1 priority of the 4 pillars of health. One thing that you can certainly do is use melatonin. It's not a problem, it's not addictive, it's not going to resolve your problem on the long run. You need to work on all the issues that I have mentioned, but it's a good help, and it can certainly help jet lag when you travel and help your body to readjust faster. So I wish you a good day. I wish you also a very wonderful night. I hope you can sleep, and I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you very soon in California. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. I forgot to tell you something important about sleep. Uh, why we need to sleep, which is what this author is saying, why we sleep. It's because, one, we absolutely need that sleep in order to rejuvenate, to renew ourselves. We renew ourselves while we sleep. Two, there is a detox mechanism during the sleep. And again, this happens only if you sleep naturally. It won't happen with the sleeping pills. This detox mechanism is a cleansing of the brain. There is a some kind of lymphatic system that is called glymphatic. It's something new that research has now talked about. The glymphatic system is a way for the brain to clean up your brain at night. And that happens only during sleep. Why glymphatic? Because we produce, when we're inflamed, what we call glial cells. And these glial cells are really irritating, inflammatory to the brain. We find these glial cells in Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer. When we sleep, these glial cells, through some kind of lymphatic system, are being cleaned up. This is so essential. Otherwise, we would be full of toxins in our brain, and it could not function properly. So that's extremely important. That's why I added this complement video to the end of the other one. Other things important to know is that sleep allows the immune system to rejuvenate and to rebalance between Th1 and Th2. It allows your hormones to be also balanced out. It allows your digestive system to rest. It affects everything. It's not complicated. Sleep affects you from head to toe. Your sleep, your skin, your hair, your nails, your toes, your vision, your brain function, your cognition, your ability to retain. That's also very, very interesting. What he says in this book is that they have done experiment in labs where they give student material to learn, and then one batch of student will have a normal night sleep and a good night's sleep after they've learned that material, and then another group of students will not. They'll go and party, they'll have alcohol, they'll do whatever, and they sleep later or the night after. The retention level is like 40% more in the student that are sleeping right after they learn the material. So it's crucial if you want to retain, if you want to memorize, if you want to have this brain functioning, to sleep after you've learned something. It's important for your bones, to renew bone cells, for your adrenals, for your thyroid, everything. So I didn't insist in that first part. I wanted to add this complement of information specifically about the lymphatic system, which I find fascinating. And there are studies that have shown, I read that many years ago, that melatonin increased the detoxification of the brain. And this is why. This is because while we sleep, because of melatonin being secreted and helping to fall asleep and stay asleep, then the lymphatic system can do its job and we can detox. The body is amazing, isn't it? I'm always fascinated by those things. So I wish you a wonderful night, and I'll talk to you another time.